Hello everyone, so here we are back again, and at this time we are going to start a series of tutorials where we are going to learn about different concepts of data engineering. Also, we are going to perform some interesting practicals about it over AWS cloud. So before getting into it, let's first understand what actually the data engineering is. So think data engineering as building a different highways and the bridges which allows the data to flow from one point to another, or think of building a pipeline which allows the data to flow through it. So actually it involves the different concepts. So first is we can allow the data to flow streamlined from one place to another in a real time or near real time, which can be called as a streaming flow, like it flows like a river. And the second way of doing it is to let the data gathered at a one place, let some component collect that data, and we can pick that data into the in the form of the batches from that point to another. It can be done, suppose, 2 times a day or 3 times a day. So we are picking up the data in the form of the batches, which is generally called the ETL, extract, transform and load. So let's first understand what actually the streaming flow is and why it is necessary. So what actually the streaming flows are. So streaming flows allows the data to flow in real time or near real time. So many systems require the data in real time or near real time. For example, banking systems, they actually require the data in real time. And suppose with the social media we are generally use, like Facebook, Instagram, they also need the data in real time only. So the data is too huge and they want to perform some kind of insights on top of it so that they can customize their edge according to your interest, and this can be doable in real time basis. So actually it involves the data ingestion process, which can be done through the different ways, Kafka is there, Amazon Kinesis is there, and Amazon SQS is there, so which allows the data to get ingested in a real time basis, and that data also needs to process in the real time only. So the data, as soon as they arrive, some kind of operations we need to perform on top of that data so that the insights and the output can be generated in the real time basis. So there are the system involves, like we need to first ingest the data. So there are some system involves which supports this data ingestion, for example Kafka, Amazon Kinesis, Amazon SQS. This kind of systems allows the data to get ingested in a real time basis. Now the second step which is going to be on top of that data is we need to perform some kind of operation, and that operation can be doable only by the code, or we need to write some script to perform those operations, right. So we need to have some kind of the data processing unit established in between. So it can be doable, like in our case we are going to perform it using the AWS Lambda, while if we are going to have some Spark or Hadoop cluster setup, then it can be doable by Spark or Hadoop cluster setup. Then we can do it by writing some Spark job or Spark streaming job, and then at last the output is get generated and it get flows into the downstream systems where the data is get analyzed and the specific actions can perform on top of that data. So let's first see how we can ingest the data. So let's first, like we are going to create the highway, so we need to first understand what different kinds of components which required to prepare this highway or the pipeline. So we need to first create the data ingestion methodology, how we need to ingest our data, which can be supported by the Apache Kafka, the first tool we are having it. Okay, which can be first doable by the Apache Kafka or by the AWS Kinesis, or if we are going to make any kind of the PubSub kind of the architecture, which is also possible over the AWS or the Google PubSub architecture. So all this kind of things allows the data to ingest in real time basis. And then we also need to provide a fast and the reliable way of doing this. We cannot afford to lose the data in between. So the system needs to be much reliable and durable, that the system needs to recover from any kind of the failures. Okay, so as I already told you, the benefit of having this kind of system is that we can the companies and the entire organization can get the insights of the data in the real-time basis, and they can establish some kind of the fraud detection systems or some kind of the advertisement recommendations on the basis of that. So we are going to, let's jump into the practical, and now we are much clear about the concepts of streaming jobs. So let's get into the practical first, and I'm sure that after doing the practical you will be able, you will get more clarity about those concepts. So let's get into the practical now. So here we are going to ingest the data in the real-time basis, for which we are going to use three different Amazon services. One is the Amazon Kinesis Data Firehose, and S3 buckets, which stands for Simple Storage Service. So for real-time ingestion of the data, Amazon provide one of the service as Amazon Kinesis. It allows the any kind of the data to be flow into the real time. It can be a video streaming data, it can be a data coming from any kind of the sensor or anything. So at this time, the producer is going to be our machine only, on which currently I'm working on. It will going to produce some data into the Amazon Kinesis. So Amazon Kinesis will ingest the data, and after that there is a delivery mechanism established, which is the Amazon Kinesis Data Firehouse. So it is a real-time delivery service provided by the AWS only, which is going to pick the data from Amazon Kinesis and then store the data into the S3 bucket. So S3 is nothing but a storage service. It can store any kind of data, whether the data is in the form of the file, whether the data is in the form of the images. The file type can be of the any type, Parquet, CSV, JSON, Avros, any sort of file we can store it here. Also, the size of data is also doesn't matter in the AWS S3. AWS S3 accommodate any size of the data because it contains the enormous amount of volume and the size, and Amazon is going to charge us on the basis of pay as per your use model. So the how much size we are going to use inside the AWS S3, how much volume we are going to use of, for that only we need to pay. Also, Amazon Kinesis and Amazon Kinesis Data Warehouse is also come with a pay as per use service only. So basically we are going to stream the data from our system to this Amazon Kinesis. Now there is a catch. Our system is present over the public network. We are going to stream the data using the public network, and the Amazon Kinesis is present inside the AWS. So we need to establish some kind of the authentication mechanism in between to ensure the security of our system. So that's where the IAM come into the place. So IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. So IAM allows different kinds of the users and the different kind of the roles or the group to access a specific component within the AWS itself. So actually it work as a security component for us. So let's first get into the practical. Let's first create the Amazon Kinesis. So we are going to get into the AWS first, and after logging into the console, you can search as a Kinesis here, and you will get the Kinesis service out here. So yeah, I use some kind of the AI tools. I think these tools make our work more faster and act as a helping hand for us. So let's first go to data streams, and we need to first create a data stream, which is nothing but the Amazon Kinesis data stream. So for this, we need to click on create data stream. Let's give it a name as code hex stream 01. So this is going to be the name of our data stream. Now, there are the two kinds of the capacity mode supported by the AWS Kinesis data stream. One is on demand. On demand, it means it can adjust the capacity of the data stream based on the amount of data flowing in. And second is the provision. So if you know how much data you are going to get into the Amazon Kinesis data stream, you can always go with the provisioned one, where we need to have the we need to set the shards, how much shards we are going to set, and it is completely based on the amount of data which is going to be flowing in our Kinesis data stream. So one shard is nothing but let's suppose the throughput of 1 MB of per second or the 1000 records per second, and it is the write capacity and it has the read capacity, like the any kind of the read we can perform out of it, whether it is using the Amazon Kinesis data firehose or any kind of the programmatic way of reading the data from Amazon Kinesis data stream. So it supports the read capacity of 2 megabyte per 2 MB per second or the 2000 records per second. So suppose we know actually how much capacity, how much data we are going to get into our Amazon Kinesis data stream, and if we are very sure about it, so we can go with the provision mode. And if we are not very sure about how much data we are going to get into, we can always go with the on demand mode. So on demand mode is come with a maximum write capacity of 200 MB per second or the 2 lakhs records per second, and the read capacity of 400 MB per second. And it adjusts the read and the write capacity based on the amount of data flowing into. So let's go with the provision one, and here we are going to have a one shard only, and that's it. This is only required for the Amazon Kinesis data stream, and we can go on creating it. It will take a while to create the Amazon Kinesis data stream. Okay, so now our Amazon Kinesis data stream is up and running. Now we need to ensure the delivery model, which is the data firehose, and it will going to read the data from the Amazon Kinesis data stream and then place it into the S3 bucket. So before creating the delivery stream or the data firehose, let's first create the storage, which is Amazon S3 bucket. So let's get into the S3 bucket. And just click on create bucket. And we are going to create inside the OYO region only, because our Kinesis data stream also exists in the same region. Also, the bucket is a global component. So, and also the bucket name should be unique globally. So this is the norm set by the AWS only. So we are going to name this bucket as code hex, and let's name it as a raw data. We are going to store the raw data into it, 01. And we don't need to choose any bucket policy as of now. Let the ACLs be disabled. We are going to block the public access to this bucket completely. And we are going to discuss about the bucket versioning in the later part of the video. Let's keep the server side encryption only, which is provided by the Amazon S3, and the bucket key, let it enable. So let everything be as it is. Let's just create the bucket. So now our bucket is created, and now we can go on creating the Amazon Kinesis data firehose service. So I'll open it into the tab only. So we have our data stream already up and running as code hex stream, and we can go on creating the delivery stream. So to create the delivery stream, click on delivery stream. We need to choose the source, which is nothing but the Amazon Kinesis data stream for us. Like here we have the source as Amazon Kinesis data stream only for the Amazon Kinesis data firehose. So we are going to select this, and the destination we are going to have it as an Amazon S3 bucket. So it will going to support the delivery mechanism from data stream to S3. And let's first choose the Amazon Kinesis data stream, which we have just created, and name this data Firehouse as Kinesis Firehose, and code hex 01. And after naming it, we are not going to perform any kind of the transformation as of now. We are only see the delivery mechanism. And the S3 bucket we have is code hack raw data, and choose this S3 bucket here as a destination. And we don't need any kind of the dynamic partitioning out here. And the generally the Amazon data, the S3 data is going to be present inside the S3 bucket in the form of year, month, date, and the hour at which the data is getting received. We don't need any kind of the output prefix. Actually, buffer hints here suggests that how much time the Amazon Kinesis Firehouse need to wait before delivering the data to the S3 bucket. So either it can go till the 1 MB of data is accumulated into the data Firehouse, or it can wait for 1 minute. So if either of the condition met, the Amazon Kinesis data Firehouse is going to deliver the data to the S3 bucket. If the data size accumulated is 1 MB, or the time lapse is 60 seconds. If within the 60 second only 200 KB of data is getting accumulated, it's fine. It will get the 200 KB of data only get delivered. Okay, and if so like that, and if the 1 MB of data is getting accumulated within the first 10 second only, then it will get that delivered. We don't need any kind of the compression mechanism as of now, so I'm just disabling it. I'm making sure that I'm just using the encryption setting of the S3 bucket only, and I'm going to create the delivery stream. Okay, so we have the delivery stream now created as code hack. Now the another concept is that we are going to make the interaction between the two different services of the AWS, which is the Kinesis and the S3 bucket. And even to interact the service, even if we want to establish the interaction between the two AWS services itself, we need to create the policies. So Amazon Kinesis Firehose should have the access policies attached to it, which allows it to access the Amazon S3 bucket, which can be doable by using the IAM. So as of now, I have not attached any kind of the policies to the data Firehose. If I can go out here and go to the configuration and see if we have any kind of the policies out here. Yes, so okay, so it automatically created the policy. You can see we don't need to create it manually. It automatically created the policy which allows the Kinesis data Firehose to access to our S3 bucket. So it has the permissions attached to it, and what actually the permission says, let's see this. So it's allow the policy to access the data into our S3 bucket, and the S3 bucket name is codehack raw data 01. It allows it. So we don't need to explicitly create the IAM policy for Amazon Kinesis Firehose. But yes, as I mentioned earlier that our producer is set up in our system while rest of the components are present over the AWS only. So we need to have the security mechanism so that our producer is able to access Amazon Kinesis. So for this, I'm going to create one Amazon Kinesis user. So let's first create a user, and I'm going to create a new user only as a Kinesis user code hex, and I'm going to provide it a permission. Permission to what? I'm going to set the permission for this. I'm not going to add it to the any user group, so I'm going to do the next. I need to set up a permission for it. So to set up the permission, I need to create a new policy only. So let's go to previous stage now and set permission boundary. So I'm going to uh, add policies directly. I'm going to add the policies directly, and the policy is going to provide the access to Amazon Kinesis, and I'm going to provide the full access to Amazon Kinesis for the time being. So Amazon Kinesis full access, you can go and set the permission options, attach policies directly, and you can directly provide the Amazon Kinesis full access and go to next. And then we are going to create the user. So Amazon Kinesis user code hack is now ready, and it has all the permission to access Amazon Kinesis. So we have the producer also right here, which is going to generate some random data for it. And it is nothing but the student data. It is going to store some random data into it, which is nothing but
what kind of the uh, elements it suppose, like what is the student ID, which can be a fake ID, what is the student name, which can be a fake name, age, major, GP, and all this kind of things. So we are going to generate a fake student data for as of now, and I'm going to generate a 10 number of records for the time being. Now for the security, I need to first have the AWS access key ID generated. Don't worry, I will update this code on the GitHub account and share the link in below in the description itself. So let's first generate the security credentials. So I'm going to create an access key. So to generate the security credentials, we need to create the access key. And so let's create the access key out here for the security credential. Let's, where is the key we can get? So from here we can create the access keys, and I'm going to create the access key for the application running outside of it. Or let's go with the other and go to the next. I don't want any kind of the value as of now, and we can create the access key. So access key come with the this. We have the access key out here, so we can paste that access key here. And the secret access key is this. Don't worry, like this is the one-time credentials, and I'm going to delete this user after that. But this access key and secret IDs are kind of uh, confidential, and you are not advisable to share this with anyone. But as of now, I'm sharing it, and I'll delete it later on. And the region I'm working in, I need to have that region also mentioned here. So currently I'm in Ohio, which is US East 2. So I can have the region mentioned here as US East 2. And the name of the stream for which I'm going to stream data into. So let's go to the Kinesis again and get the name of the stream out of it. So which is in which data stream we need to have this. Let's get into that. So this is the data stream which we have created. Let's copy the name of the data stream only and paste it here. And that's it. Our producer is now ready. We can run this producer. So let's run this Python code, and it will produce the data into our AWS. So let's wait for some time. And the record is sent successfully, and it is showing the shard ID where the record is getting in. So if now I can go into the S3 bucket, which we have created as of now, and we have the delivery mechanism established, but it will take some time to replicate to have that record coming in, because we have the Amazon Kinesis Firehose in between, which will going to wait for 1 minute or so. So let's first refresh this page and see when the data is going to be arrive. Let's wait for it for a few minutes. Okay, so now we have the data. So let's see how actually our data looks like. So as I already mentioned, the data is going to be in the form of year, month, which is December 18th, and the hour of the day in which the data is getting streamed into. And here we are having 1.2 KB of data, which is surely less than the 1 MB. That's why our Kinesis Firehose wait for 1 minute before delivering it. So let's read the data. So the one way of reading the data is by just directly opening it or downloading it. But I'm going to click on Amazon Action and we can query with S3 Select. The data here we are having is in the form of the JSON only. So I'm going to have it and run the SQL query. And see, we are having the data here as a student ID is this, name is the Jennifer Miller, age is 24, major is computer science, and GPA is 3.8. So we have this 10 records. As of now, I have selected 5. Let's select 100 records. But as of now, we are having the 10 records only. So it will going to display the 10 records only. So we have the 10 records here, which is published by our producer only. And the producer is running in our system, which is interacting with Amazon Kinesis using the IAM user credential as a security token. And the Amazon Kinesis data firehose making sure the delivery of this data from Amazon Kinesis to the S3 bucket. And we are having this data into the S3 bucket in real time only. So it's not actually the real time, it's a near real time because we have the gap of 1 minute in between. Again, let's publish some 100 records into it for the timing, or the 1,000 records, let's see. And I'm going to run it. So we are publishing data into it, and let's go to the S3 bucket now and see if our data arrived or not. So we are in the 15th hour only. Let's see, the number of files are going to be increased very soon. So we need to wait ideally for 1 minute before the data is getting arrived. Also, meanwhile, the data is getting arrived. Let's get into the Amazon Kinesis data stream only. And let's see some matrices. So there are some matrices which are readily available to monitor our data stream. So we are having some matrices which can show how much data is coming in. So we can get the latency of the data. We can get how many records are coming in. So earlier we have 10 records which we published. So it is showing, okay, the 10 records are getting into the Amazon Kinesis data stream. Like earlier we published 10 records. Let's get into the S3 bucket. So we have the data now with the 30 KB of data, right? So we have the data again now into our S3 bucket, which is produced by us only. So let's observe the key matrices out here. I can go to the here and see how much record counts it. So the matrices is going to be updated soon, but we are getting the data and the matrices. So this kind of the matrices are used to monitor our Amazon Kinesis data stream to set kind of the we can say kind of the alerts on top of it. Like if the record values are getting beyond some kind of threshold or below some kind of the threshold, the user can get the alerts that there is something wrong into our data or there is something wrong into our system. So this can be useful for the alerting and monitoring purposes. So that's it only. Like we have created a one entire real-time streaming flow, and we are producing the data in real time and getting it into our storage in near real-time basis. Now into our next series of tutorials, we are going to visualize this data. We are going to perform operations on top of this data and do much more activity on top of it. We are going to querying this data as well. So stay tuned, and if you like this video, then don't forget to subscribe this channel, and let's meet in our next video soon.